Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the all-new Apple Watch Series 11. I thought we'd unbox it, take a look at what's new, compare the aluminum or aluminium version to the titanium version, and also see how it's different than the Series 11 version. Now the aluminum version starts at $399, goes up to $549, and that depends on the size that you choose and whether or not it's Wi-Fi and cellular, and also the band can affect the price as well. The same is true with the titanium, but it starts at $699, goes up to $1,049, again depending on the band, and also you can get an Hermes version, but that's much more. Now with the aluminum version, there's 4 different colors this year. They've added an additional new space gray that I have here, and there's also silver, rose gold, and jet black. With titanium, there's natural, gold, and slate. Let's go ahead and unbox this. So we'll turn it over here. Open it up, you can see that it's a Series 11, 46mm space gray, and it says GPS here, but it does not have cellular. So let's open it up. And here's the watch itself. So that's what the box looks like. It's got that new watch face on it, Flow. And then here's the band. This is a pretty simple band I chose, but let's set this aside and we'll take a closer look. So we can see it says 46mm space gray aluminum GPS. Let's pull the pull tabs here. Open it up. That's kind of got a nice look to it on the top there. You'll see in here we get a box that says designed by Apple in California with our little charging cable. And it looks like it's the same sort of charging cable that we get with even the titanium version of the Apple Watch Ultra 3. So it's just an aluminum one to USB-C. If we place this back here, let's close this back up. Let's take a look at the watch itself, and there's no additional paperwork in here, it looks like. So if we slide this out here, we'll push this out of the little wrapper that we have here. It's in there very tight. There we go, and it turned on by itself just from the pressure removing it. But you can see this is the new space gray. It almost looks a little silvery, but again, looks like the original space gray that we used to have. So let's unbox the watch band here quickly, and then we'll take a closer look at the titanium version and see how they compare. So we'll remove this, open it up, and this is just the silicone band. So this is your basic band, but it's very comfortable for just day-to-day use or working out or whatever you want to use it for. So let's place that back, and we'll put this aside. So again, with the titanium version, let's go ahead and take a look. You'll see at the top here, it says Apple Watch Series 11, 46mm natural titanium, and let's go ahead and open it up here. So we'll just pull the pull tabs again. And I opened it up backwards, but let's set that aside. And here you can see one of the new watch faces it looks like we have. And then one of the bands that I chose as well. But let's go ahead and open this up here. We'll pull the pull tabs. And again, on this side of the Apple Watch, it says natural titanium case here. And the same thing I would imagine is in here. It's still the aluminum charger, so no special charger or anything for this version. And if we take the watch out, you'll see it's polished titanium. Now, one of the things they're no longer offering, just like last year, there's no longer a stainless steel variant. But this one kind of looks like it since it's polished. And again, we'll remove it here. You do have different options, of course, as well. So we'll place that down. Let's go ahead and open up the strap here. And we'll test out some of the nicer straps as well with it. But you'll see this is just a black nylon band here. And this goes along with it. And you can see here that it says 46mm extra large. So that's the one I need. We'll set that aside as well. And let's compare both devices. Now let's take a closer look at the design, and the design is identical to that of the Series 10. So basically we have polished titanium on the left here with our button to turn it on or to activate the control center, and then of course our microphone and digital crown. The digital crown feels the same on both, and they both click the same. And then on the top, of course, we can place our band here, and you can use all of your old bands as well. Then on the left-hand side, we've got some speakers there. Again, identical, just different materials. Then on the other side here, or the bottom, again, another spot for the band. If we take a look at the bottom, you can see pretty much everything is the same. With different sensors, it just tells you what it is, titanium versus aluminum here. Now, to compare the overall design and everything from the Series 10 on the left to the Series 11 on the right, well, we have the new color with space gray compared to jet black, sort of like the jet black last year, a little bit better, but that's still available. The glass this year is a little bit tougher. We have a 2 times more scratch-resistant Ion X glass than the previous generation, and it's also slightly heavier this year. Whether you get GPS or GPS and cellular, it's 37.8 grams for GPS compared to 36.4 with the Series 10, and 36.9 grams with cellular and GPS compared to 35.3 grams. The same is true with the titanium model. Now, with the display itself, Apple only says that it's tough titanium sapphire crystal display with titanium case, or they're saying titanium tough crystal display. So that's something that they're just mentioning. It doesn't mean it's any better sapphire, but they're both sapphire displays and very difficult to scratch. But again, the weight is a little bit heavier with the new one, 43.1 grams compared to 41.7 grams. So a couple grams heavier, and that may be due to some of the new features internally. Now let's go ahead and set this up. Now we'll set the titanium one over here. I'll walk you through the setup on one of them, and you'll see immediately it pops up on my iPhone where it says Apple Watch. Use your iPhone to set up this Apple Watch. We'll tap continue, give it a second here to connect, and we'll set it up for myself. And now it should change on the display. There we go. And we should be able to scan it. There we are. It connects and sort of realizes what it needs to connect to. Give it a second here. And there we go. It says your Apple Watch is paired. So it will take a moment to go through the initial setup. There shouldn't be any updates for this one. There was for the Apple Watch Ultra 3, but we'll go ahead and just tap continue. I decided to set the watch up as new, so we'll select the wrist that we're going to use it on. We'll tap continue. Then we have to accept the terms and conditions. Then it's asking about watch analytics. I typically don't share those. We can create a passcode or not. I won't create one right now. And now it's showing text size. We can adjust this if we want, make it a little bit bigger, bold text, whatever works for you. Now we can get notifications about your health, such as hearing. I'll tap continue. Then it's telling us about safety with emergency SOS and backtrack and other features. And now it's showing the new gestures that are available with watchOS 26 with wrist flick and then double tap. So these are things that were part of watchOS 26 that are available on older watches. Now we have depth. The depth app can automatically open underwater. I really like that. So if you go swimming, it actually tells you the depth right there. Now it's going to sync and we can get to know the Apple Watch, but we'll just wait for it to sync and then we'll continue. And I'll get the other one set up in just a moment as well. It finished syncing. Now it says welcome to Apple Watch and we're ready to start. So there we go. We have the Flow watch face set up from default. We'll tap start here. We'll skip taking the tour since we know all about this, and we can move this around here. So you'll see the Flow watch face. It looks really cool, just sort of moving around like that with liquid glass. Let's set that aside. I'll get the titanium version set up, and then we'll take a closer look at what's new. The titanium version finished setting up. We'll tap start, and we'll skip the tour, and you'll see we have the Exactograph watch face, so the new watch face on both. Now both watches have been set up. We have the Flow watch face and Exactograph. We'll compare the displays in a moment, but this year we have the same chipset as last year, an S10 system in package, but we gained 5G capability this year for the cellular models. So if you have a cellular model, you'll have 5G capability instead of just LTE. We also have better battery life this year, so we're now up to 24 hours, up from 18 hours last year, and maybe that's why they weigh a little bit more, but they can also charge 0 to 80% in 30 minutes. So we should get better battery life and have the same speed as we did before. Now we have a little bit of an increase in Wi-Fi as well. We have Wi-Fi 4, but this year we have 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Last year, it just said we had 802.11n Wi-Fi 4. So as far as what's new this year, basically we have 5G, tougher glass, a better battery, and 40% recycled glass in the display glass. Other than that, there is no difference whatsoever. However, there is a difference this year when you're looking at the display on the same exact watch face on the Sapphire versus the glass. Typically, Sapphire is a little bit less transparent. So let's go ahead and set up a new watch face. We'll add the exact same one we have here with Flow, and let's change it to the same background. Looks like we've got that one, and it looks like we may have, let's see what color we have selected. So we'll go in and edit. We'll go over here and see what color. So it looks like we have silver selected at the top. So we'll go all the way to silver. We'll go into it so we can compare side by side. And there we go. So side by side, you can see the overall translucency or transparency. Again, we'll turn those on. Gives you an idea that maybe it's a little less transparent on the Sapphire display. You can notice the blacks look a little bit different. And so they look very similar in person, and I don't think most people would notice, but technically it's slightly more transparent, it seems, with the glass. Now, as far as the bands themselves, well, here's the band that came with the Series 11. So we'll take a look at it just to see what it looks like here. Let me remove this one. And again, this is the band. And this band, I have them right here, the boxes that we opened earlier. This band is actually called the Anchor Blue Sport Band. So you can see that here. That's this one. So again, it's just a silicone band. So if you wanted super lightweight and waterproof or water resistant, you can just stick it on this like that. And that's what it looks like. So that gives you an idea. And then on the titanium one, if we put the band on that came with it, slide this on. This one's actually called Dark Gray Sport Loop. So it's the Dark Gray Sport Loop on this one, but we'll try the metal one as well. So we'll slide this on. We'll try a couple ones out. So again, here's the silicone one. Here's the Dark Gray Sport Loop. Now you may not like the texture of these if you've never felt them, and I've got it on upside down. Let's go ahead and do this. I think I have the band upside down as well, but either way, this gives you an idea of what it looks like. So it's okay, but I actually prefer the metal bands typically. So let's take a look at those. So if we remove this band, let's go ahead and remove this one. Here is the metal Milanese loop here, the titanium one. Now this is the dark one. There are a couple models here, but this gives you an idea of what it looks like. There we are. So again, if we make sure this is loose enough, depending on how you have it attached. But either way, that shows you what it looks like. And if you want the other version, I actually have that from the original Apple Watch. So we'll see if we can take this off here. There we go. Here's the original Apple Watch. So the very first one. And we should be able to use the band from this as well. So if we remove this, this one does pinch your hair quite a bit if you have a lot of hair on your arms. So let's remove it from here. Again, just go like this, just to show you what it looks like. And again, I may have these upside down. You can, of course, put them on however you'd like, though. But if you have an original Series 1 or very first version of the Apple Watch, you'll see what it looks like here with that band. So it doesn't match completely, but you get the idea. All of the old bands still work with the latest watches. So if you have a watch band collection, you won't need to upgrade them unless you actually change sizes. So if you go from maybe 42 to 46 millimeters, you'd need to change that. I thought we'd compare the original Apple Watch for fun. There's no longer a stainless steel model anymore, so they got rid of that last year. But we have titanium and aluminum, and you can see here with the original Apple Watch, definitely a big difference, especially with the display. Now with this update, we also get the new hypertension feature, but Apple also added that back to the Series 9 as well as the Apple Watch Ultra 2. So you have the hypertension notifications if you go into your health app here on your iPhone. So you can enable that. You can see here with the hypertension notifications, and then you can search for it here if you're not finding it, but under heart. Of course, you have all of those different options with high heart rate notification, hypertension notifications, and make sure that's enabled for the latest version. But other than that, there's really no extra features, no additional sensors. So we're not seeing any major change this year as far as that goes. And as far as watch faces, well, let's take a look at what's new. We have two of them here. So we have the new watch faces here with Flow. We have Exactograph, which was set up by default on the titanium version. We have Photos, and then we have Pride Harmony. And then you can see here, there's a couple other ones as well showing up, Unity Rhythm. So as far as new watch faces, you can use Exactograph, and I think it looks pretty good. So if we go back here, I do like the Exactograph watch face and the way it expands out. Sometimes when you wake it up, it does that. And then you've got some different versions of it as well. So if we go here to Style, you can see what this style looks like. So if we go back, if we turn it off, then we turn it back on, it expands out. So I really like the look of this one. It's a little bit unique, but of course we can't add our own watch faces yet either. As far as the version that was pre-installed, I don't believe we have an update. We did on the Apple Watch Ultra 3, but if we go to software, go to About, and we'll check software update, the default version is 23R350, and if we go to software update, it says it's up to date. There shouldn't be an update for this. It was only for the Apple Watch Ultra 3. And so with the watches this year, not a big upgrade. So if you're wondering if you should upgrade to a Series 11, if you are on one that's older than the Series 10, it's going to feel dramatically different as it's thinner since the Series 10, and the display is larger, has better viewing angles. But if you're on a Series 10, I probably wouldn't upgrade to a Series 11 unless you want that 6 hours of battery life. Other than that, there's really not that much of a difference. We don't know if 5G will make a difference with cellular at all. Maybe it's more power efficient, maybe it's not. We don't really know, as we haven't tested it enough yet. So that's really a very minor upgrade this year. Apple may want to switch to maybe 2-year upgrades and just upgrade the color from year to year, as there's not a big enough difference really to justify switching from a 10 to an 11. But let me know what you think about the Apple Watch Series 11 in the comments below. Maybe you picked up an Ultra. I'd love to hear from you there. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.